Oh boy, looks like Roaring Kitty has officially left the building. He returned and people thought he was going to lead them to the promised land. But just as fast as he returned, poof, he's gone again. Luckily though, we got some really huge breaking news for the crypto space, and now it looks like we're about to blast off to the moon. At the time of recording, GameStop is back down to around $22, and in post it's actually down to $21. And as I was saying in my video yesterday, whenever it puts in these gaps like this, a lot of times it's going to come down to fill them. So whenever it got down to $20 again, I said I might buy a YOLO bag, but I've actually changed my mind now. It did come down perfectly to fill this gap, and now it has hit a bottom, and maybe it's forming a floor here, I don't know. It does look like there is a small gap above us, but the high for that would probably be around $27. The reason why I changed my idea, and why I'm not going to be buying this dip, GameStop decided to dilute their shares, and there is reports that they're going to be selling 45 million common shares in an at-the-market offering. This is obviously not very good, and I'm not going to be buying up 45 million shares to keep the price from plummeting. I don't know about you guys, but it looks to me like not only has this guy leaned forward, but he fell all the way out of his chair and now he's laying on his face. It's not only this guy though, because obviously GameStop has also just fallen flat, and it looks like Roaring Kitty has decided to take the money and run because he posted this video on his X page implying that he's getting back on the spaceship and leaving this Earth. I guess that means he's leaving his friends in the GameStop community, and hopefully these guys are going to try to get on a new ship, which is going to be cryptocurrency, and we can all take the system down. But I don't think they're going to be doing it through this guy again, because apparently he doesn't have that much control over what GameStop actually does. He can come in and put some hype into the market, but with the economy basically falling off a cliff and companies like GameStop having a hard time getting their earnings up, obviously they're going to take this opportunity to take that money, and they're going to get the hell out of here. Luckily though, it does look like maybe some of those profits are coming into the crypto space, as we did have Bitcoin confirming this break above the 50-day moving average, and it has actually tested this previous descending level of resistance here, which is forming the top of this bull flag, and could be the very last level of resistance before we go skyrocketing up to about $100,000. Like I said, I was really just waiting for it to get over this 50-day moving average, and in my opinion, I think this is a really great confirmation signal that we're probably going to be breaking out here pretty soon. And we could definitely trade here sideways a little bit more before we break above this descending resistance line, but I think there's some really great catalysts that are finally coming into the market that could send us going parabolic again. For example, according to this article on Bitcoin.com, tens of thousands are showing overwhelming support for abolishing the Fed. On May 15th, it says, Thomas Massey, a Republican member of the U.S. House of Representatives for Kentucky, posted on X inquiring whether he should introduce legislation to abolish the U.S. Federal Reserve. The poll garnered over 115,000 votes, with a significant 86% majority opting to end the Fed. I don't know who the other 14% is, but they must have lost their damn minds. It just went poof. But then apparently he actually introduced the Federal Reserve Board Abolition Act to end the Fed. And this is definitely not going to go through, but it's really great to see at least somebody trying to stand up against the Federal Reserve that's just been printing an astronomical amount of money and devaluing our currency, putting millions of people into abject poverty. And next, but most importantly in my opinion of the news for the day, it looks like, according to this article on Bitcoin Magazine, the Senate has passed that bill to overturn the SEC rule on Bitcoin and crypto custody. Biden is still threatening to veto, and hopefully he's not going to do it, but if this actually did get past Biden's desk, then it would make it possible for banks to actually custody crypto. This would be really huge because you would be seeing a lot more banks adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, not to mention it would be highly regulated institutions that are going to have insurance, so if anything actually goes wrong, then investors should be covered. Unfortunately, Elizabeth Warren came out in staunch opposition, obviously, and she says that it's going to cause a real big issue where all of the money could just disappear from the banks and they could all collapse. The rule that this resolution would actually get rid of was written by the SEC to say that the banks would have to hold $1 for every dollar worth of Bitcoin that they hold on their balance sheet. This is because the Bitcoin would be seen as a liability and they would have to have assets to back up all of those liabilities. This pretty much makes it impossible for banks to actually custody crypto, But with that rule being removed, this would mean that banks could actually start to custody cryptocurrency for people, and you would actually think that that would be something that Elizabeth Warren would be for, because she continues to talk about how unregulated the cryptocurrency space is and how there's all of these bad actors. But meanwhile, she doesn't want the banks to actually be able to custody cryptocurrency, even though they're highly regulated and would have to act in good faith, supposedly. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be letting anybody else custody my cryptocurrency, and I don't trust the banks for shit. But since the banks are the ones that pay Elizabeth Warren's bills, you would think that they would be trying to get her to let this thing go through. Luckily, it seems like nobody gives a damn what Elizabeth Warren thinks anymore, and hopefully she'll just get replaced pretty soon so we don't have to deal with her. In the meantime, though, we do have all of these big banks adding the Bitcoin ETF holdings to their balance sheets, and it looks like Morgan Stanley is the latest bank to disclose their spot Bitcoin ETF holdings for clients, according to this article on CoinDesk, with the Wall Street giant holding nearly $270 million worth of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust at the end of March. It's not just them, though, because according to this article on Yahoo Finance, over 600 financial institutions have revealed billions of dollars invested into U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, and according to the disclosed data, professional investment firms have declared ownership of Bitcoin ETFs amounting to a staggering $3.5 billion. As I've said in the past, it was going to take a little bit of time for all of these institutions to do their due diligence and start adding these Bitcoin ETFs to their balance sheet, but now that we're starting to see all of them disclosing it, I think we're going to be seeing the ones that haven't added it to their balance sheet scrambling to catch up to these guys pretty soon, because if they don't, they're going to be totally left behind because of inflation. This has seen the Bitcoin ETF volumes hit a 7-week high as Bitcoin price has neared $67,000 again, according to this article on Cointelegraph. And it looks like the Bitcoin ETFs have seen a daily volume of nearly $6 billion in a return to levels not seen since late March. In my opinion, that's probably why we're continuing to the upside, obviously, and that's going to push the volume whenever we do break above this downward trending resistance line. And as people scramble to get their hands on the limited amount of Bitcoin that's actually on the market, we're probably going to see a supply squeeze, and this thing's going to go skyrocketing upward really quickly. Finally, on Sunday, we do have Fed Chair Powell speaking again, and then on Tuesday it says Fed Chair Yellen is speaking, but I don't think she's the Fed Chair anymore. She's the Secretary of the Treasury. But either way, they basically supply all of the liquidity for the fiscal deficit and all of the spending that the government does. So between her and Fed Powell, I think that people are going to be paying attention to see if they're planning on cranking up that money printer. As the inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs continue to heat back up and the government continues to take L's as they try to crush the cryptocurrency industry, I think the mania is going to be returning to the markets over the next couple of weeks, and this might represent the last opportunity to get back into the market if you did sell, or to buy this dip and get ready for some astronomical gains. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are we getting ready to heat back up again and go skyrocketing to the moon? Or is Elizabeth Warren going to have her way and crush the whole cryptocurrency industry, making it just go poof? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.